Yeah, a couple questions. Beasley he played Mike most of last year, but Will in the Orange Bowl. Is that right?
No, he was a combo guy for us. He actually played a couple games at will. That's why he led us in snaps. He was always our, combo that we could put in at Mike or Will. He had some games. I'm not sure if he started at will, but he played a ton at will for us last year.
Is it fair to say his skill set fits Will pretty well?
I think both. I thought, early on in the season, I thought he was playing at a high level at the Mike linebacker position, before Jawan came back last year, and then we slid him where he could play either or. I think he's, skill set wise and just experience, it would be easy for him to go back and play Mike tomorrow if we asked him to.
And one more, Keenan Peely he's a traditional Mike, isn't he? Just
Yeah,
body
when you
type.
say traditional Mike, I want to be careful. He's not a throwback, 3 yards in a cloud of dust that just runs into people. He's a bigger guy, but he's super athletic. We don't mind putting him in space, blitzing him, putting him in coverage. I think I want to be careful about saying traditional because we like to consider both of our guys, versatile enough to be outside and inside linebackers.
With Aaron, how have you seen his leadership skills grow this offseason?
It's a work in progress. It is. Aaron's a soft-spoken guy. One of those guys that always feels like he has to earn the respect from everybody before he's going to step out and lead. We're asking him to come out of his shell a little bit, and he's done it in his own way. He's not going to ever be the loudest guy in the room or be very boisterous. But you can see that, especially the younger guys, they gravitate to him, and they really take heed to what he's saying when he speaks.
I joked a couple of days ago with Coach Heupel that that first spring that some of us were out there playing linebacker.
Yes.
How different does that feel? I know that's like it just seems like it's so drastic for you as a coach. How different does that feel? And then to have two veteran guys and then a bunch of kind of younger pieces, do you kind of like the dynamics of the room from a standpoint of you've got some veterans, but you've also got some young guys that are going to push them?
Yes, the first part of your question, every coach, I think if you asked them what would be their number one goal would be to have quality depth. And when you don't even have the bodies to, go out there and compete, it's hard because, I say it all the time, the best, coach in the world is competition. You're going to get the most out of guys if they know that guy behind them is nipping at their heels and is able to play at a high level. And with the depth that we're building, we're gonna be able to play multiple guys, and we feel like we're gonna get them to play at a high level. And like I said, I think we're getting to the point where we can be a third or fourth or even a fifth team deep at linebacker, and that's going to be, a blessing. Obviously, knock on wood, you don't want any injuries to happen, but the depth aspect is going to be great. All right, and then with the second part of your question, the young guys, very very happy with the young guys. I think they all obviously going to progress at different levels, but I think from Arion Carter to Jalen Smith and Jeremiah Telander. And I still put Caleb Perry, Elijah Herring, and Ben Bolton in that same category. Those are all guys whose best football is ahead of them, and we're really happy with, the athleticism and their attention to detail as football players.
Brian, you were pretty complimentary of the spring that Arion had. Has he continued to impress you, or does he have moments where you remember he's a freshman?
That's always. It depends on the day, right? There's never going to be, perfection. Youth, always equals, mistakes. We just want to limit the amount. The thing with Arion, he plays so hard. He plays fast. He's, a great athlete. So he's able to, overcome some of the mistakes, that maybe some other people can't. But, we're not going to spoon feed him. We're going to keep force feeding him, keep putting him in difficult situations. So one, he learns from him. If he does it right and he can explain why he did it right, we feel confident. And if he does it wrong, we're going to be able to correct it and make sure he does it right the next time. So I think he's right where he was. I think he's probably a little bit further ahead than where he was in the spring. And, obviously we're expecting big things from him, the rest of this camp.
How would you describe how beneficial it is to have Keenan's age and experience in the linebacker room?
Oh man, it's been it's been valuable. We lost a bunch of guys. If you go off of just seniors or guys who are had their eligibility up last year, we really lost 4 guys last year, and that's big in the room. Even the guys that didn't play a lot, they have a presence in the room. They almost sounded like coaches. So when you lose that, and you only have really one veteran guy coming back, you bring a guy with a wealth of experience in Keenan Peely that's played at a high level, and a guy that really is a team player. I think when guys come out of the portal, that's always the biggest question: is how would they mesh with the team. And our culture, the way we're building it, it's not for everybody. It's not one that if you come in and you have a selfish bone in your body or you're a me guy, it doesn't fit. And man, he's been a perfect fit in the room and for the defense and for the whole team.
Coach, we heard from Jalen Smith yesterday, and he referred to you as a second father. When you hear a player refer to you in that way, what does it mean to you?
First, it would say I probably should get a tax break because I only got 2 kids, Brooke and Brittany, 2 girls. But secondly, it's appreciative. I don't take the position I have for granted. I know we are in a position where we have a chance to help shape their lives. He's got 2 great parents. Got a chance to get a chance to know them during the recruiting process. He's got 2 unbelievable parents, but like I said, I don't take that for granted. I appreciate the statement. I told him that doesn't mean he's not going to get coached harder. It might mean he's going to get coached harder. But at the end of the day, coach is not just teaching. It's not just instructing. It's also caring about these kids and making sure that their futures are going to be set by the experience that they had with you.
With Jeremiah and Jalen, just kind of what stood out about them these first couple of days of camp? How would you assess where they are and the next couple of steps for them these couple of weeks to continue to grow?
Obviously with what we do offensively, we got to be able to get aligned fast, and I love it because you have to be able to think on the run. I think that's the biggest wow factor for them coming out of high school. I thought the spring helped a lot. They're getting better, but the processing has to happen a lot faster, which is great for us because if you have to process fast, that means you know what you're doing. Obviously, the physical part of the game, the speed of the game, it's got to keep coming. There's still some times, if they're a step late with their read, the ball's past them. We got to get better there. But we've been happy with what they've done. They've all flashed. And I put, Arion and obviously, Caleb, Elijah, Ben Bolton, all of those guys, they've all flashed a bunch. And I think, like I said, their best football's ahead of them.
How much have you guys talked about, the preparation to get your guys ready to create more turnovers or get those game-changing type of plays from your defense this year?
It was the lead, bulletin point for Coach Banks. I think everybody in our individual rooms, we talked about it. For us to take the next step, we have to go and take the ball from people. Our offense does a good job of not giving it to the opponent. We have to match them as far as the rate that we take it from people. And even with Coach Hype, I should mention him too. That was one of the main bullet points that he had in his first team meeting was we have to do a better job, whether it be intercepting the ball, cause fumbles, strip sacks on quarterbacks, 4th down stops, whatever we can do to get the possessions back to our offense. We know how explosive our offense, is, and if we get the ball to them at a high rate, we know our percentage of winning is going to go through the roof.
Coach, when you made the decision to come here a couple of years ago, what kind of take everybody through that decision? Because you were at Michigan, another program with a lot of history.
Yes.
You're coming to a place that's under NCAA investigation and all that at the time. Like, kind of what made Tennessee attractive for you that you want to come here, and what have you found since you've been here that maybe you didn't know going in?
Man, I feel like I'm about to write a book report. To answer the first part of that question, the thing that was attractive as a kid that grew up in the Northeast in the 80s and early 90s and moved down south in the mid 90s, obviously Tennessee program-wise was at top tier, was one of the best programs in the country. So that stood out to me. you know, as a high school kid. Then getting to college, you know, I didn't play college football too far from here. I played at Appalachian State, so it was a lot of, you know, power T's in that area of North Carolina. And then obviously getting in the coaching profession, you know, I cut my teeth in the South and actually in this conference. And Tennessee was always a program that you admired from afar. So when the opportunity came, obviously I was at a place with a lot of tradition, you know, and a really good program. But there was something in me that said that's worth at least kicking the tires on and seeing, you know, what the opportunity would be. And then, you know, after, you know, talking to Coach Heupel, you know, getting the chance to, you know, speak to Coach Banks, someone I knew and respected for a long time. And then obviously with Coach Martinez and Coach Garner, guys that, you know, I had to coach against for a long time, the respect factor was there. And, you know, I knew what the situation was coming in, and it was, I want to call it faith. You know, blind faith. I really believed in the vision that Coach Heupel had when we spoke. Obviously, I had a chance to coach against him when he was at Central Florida, and I saw the makings of what they were doing there, and I had a pretty good inkling that we were going to be successful here. And the second part of the question, what have I found since I've been here? Unbelievable place. Great university. Knoxville is unbelievable city, great people. The passion for football is even greater than I thought it would be. And man, you know, Neyland Stadium, I said it, you know, a couple of years ago, and I still think it's the best football experience for a college football fan or a player in the country.
Brian, you said it in spring that the next step for Aaron was sort of doing what he did in the Orange Bowl on a more consistent basis. How attainable is that? He was so good in that game. How attainable do you think that is for him this season?
I would say if you asked him the question, if he doesn't say he thinks he could play better, I would be disappointed. I think that's the Aaron that we expect to see in every game. And I think there were still some plays that he left out there on the field that definitely could have been made. You know, you're talking to a guy that believes in him, you know, as much as anybody in the building. I think the kid's got, you know, a unique skill set. I think he's got a high playmaking ability. And I still tell people all the time, I think the best is yet to come from that kid. Thank you, Coach. All right. Thank you, guys.